Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to interview Nathaniel. So, Nathaniel, welcome back, dude.
Hey, hey, hey.
So,
How you doing?
good, dude. Yeah, definitely doing great. And you know, please let everyone know what your new full type is. This is gonna be like the big one.
Yeah, big drama. Yeah, so about a couple months ago I hopped in a couple lives with Dave and I've been an ENFP in the past. I don't know. Viewers of your channel probably knew I was saw like an ENFP video back in the day. I was typed sleep last ENFP and Dave first, yeah, it was really Dave, not Shan. It was Dave that said like, "Hey, I think you're typed wrong." So I got submitted to retype, even though I felt pretty cool with it. And my new type is a very different type. It's ISFP. It's ISFP, consume, sleep, blast, play. So play last. Um, and just to be totally forward and upfront, Dave in the typing audio, he said that some of the stuff was he was kind of, you know, guessing with some of it. And just kind of doing his best. And he was very upfront about that. And I generally kind of agreed with his thought process, though. Um, so yeah, so that seems like a very dramatic retype, but I'm going to argue that it's not. When I came into ops, I had a very solid type for myself, like a lot of people do, and a lot of times they're wrong. But I was really solid, like on play last IP, but like the INFP version. And so the big surprise when I got retyped, because I thought I was going to get typed exactly what I originally thought. But Dave said, no, I think you're extroverted sensing, Nathaniel. And he gave some interesting reasons why. He looked through all my socials and stuff, and I have like a lot of stuff online. He's like, this is all very like sensory stuff. And it's a thought that I've had over the years. So yeah, I'm I was a little surprised at the time, but I'm generally feeling that that's a good thought to have. Something I'll readjust to. But what
Yeah,
questions do you have then?
I got tons, man. But
Yeah,
well, I mean, I, your sexual modalities also got changed. You were MF before, now you're double masculine now, right?
right. And that's something that I've been kind of thinking for a while might need to get looked at. That was the one big one. Well, actually, no, play last. I've always kind of wonder if I was play last, and I wonder if I was double masculine because a couple hard to understand reasons why I thought that, but
It kind of makes sense why you got typed as like a sleep last ENFP originally, because there's people I've interviewed in the past, like there's a girl that is an ISTJ that I interviewed in the past who was originally blast, play, consume, sleep, and then her sexual modalities I think was double feminine, and then later on she got like retyped as blast, sleep, consume, play last, and visual, meaning her play was double masculine. That's why they thought she was double act
right.
play was because the play was double masculine, even though she was play last. So in your case,
Yeah.
it sounds like it was like the same kind of case where your play is double masculine. That's why it came across as you were high play. But you know, those double masculine animals, they do show up really strongly, even if it's last, right? So um
Yeah, this is interesting because yeah, I was audio ENFP sleep last time. They swapped me to double masculine ISFP, which is like going from like the most common type to the least one of the least common types is a little bit tough for me because I like to like do a lot of research. But what's interesting is you guys don't see my double masculine play. You guys, none of you guys in the group have ever seen it, not once. I play like a lot of sports, and like those people see that side of me, very like the aggressive yelling, um, that kind of person, and that's a lot of fun. That's kind of my outlet. But yeah, I think Dave was generally said like, hey, I think the thing that threw us off is they really didn't do social types back then. They didn't really know about it, and I was just kind of cluing into social hierarchies around that time. Used to work in a group home and then apartments that were outpatient sort of facilities for a psychiatric hospital. And like you get a lot of people coming out of the hospital, especially when I was working at the apartments, where in real life they would not ever be together, like if they weren't forced to, essentially. and you're seeing like a lot of social hierarchy stuff where you got like a person who's in charge of everything being next to someone who's not, and you get like these guys who are being served in, yeah, as residents, and then the employees are going to be like, servant oriented regular people like a four, and then you get these guys who are, lower on the hierarchy, who are like number ones, and they really don't like it, and it's a very interesting social dynamic. I was like seeing that, so when social types came out, I got really curious in getting involved in that discussion because it was very apparent to me that something was going on there.
Right. No, that
Uh-huh.
would make sense why you seem very high play also because you're number four, right? So friends plus double
Right.
masculine play. Because I think Dave and Shan, they were talking about like hierarchy of like what is normally activated by people, like for people, and it's saviors first, followed by socials, and then double
Yeah.
masculines. So like if you look at your thing, even though you're like freaking sleep, like double activated sleep, um, you have like double masculine play and social four. So your like play is like almost like like really enhanced, even though your play lasts. It's so weird, you know?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. And, I was going with the type. I didn't want to have like the identity of somebody who like complained about type or freaked out about it, but I was pretty open like in the groups. Like I was the first month where they were doing quick typing. So when retyping was coming out, one, I unfollowed the groups because I really didn't like enjoy hearing the discussion around that. It just kind of annoyed me. But I was like, I could be totally mistyped. I wouldn't be surprised. And I don't even think it's that big of a deal because, getting typed and everything is kind of like a lens by which you kind of try to see yourself and the relationships you're in. Like people that I know and I interact with, like I don't know any of their types. I'm not good at typing. And the way my brain works is I'll change my mind 10 times in the space of a minute. But that's not really important because what you're trying to do is figure out and like craft a conversation so you have a good interaction with people. So if you're wrong on the type, it's not good, but you know, you're going to keep on guessing and adjusting and kind of moving around like that. So I kind of went into retyping kind of wanting just more of a profile and more like it's like kind of like I wanted the audio like because I didn't get the audio when we got typed because it was the rapid typing because all the COVID people were trying to get typed, and I wanted like the audio experience that everybody else had because I really liked ops and everything like that. So when Dave had been kind of indicating that I might be a couple animals different, and I thought that anyway, so I was like cool with it. But I was really surprised to get a full like thing different. That was a little bit of a surprise. I did not expect to be completely thrown around, but it was the old type was 2 coins off of my guess, and then the new type is 2 coins off of my guess. So even though it seems like a really big change, it's actually they're both really close to where I was thinking. So either way, it's like not that big of a deal.
I think even though your type got changed, you're technically still like because your new type is double activated NF, right? So your old type
Yeah,
is lead NF. So it seems like the NF is still being seen as a savior. Um,
yeah,
but the biggest change though is I think in the old type when you were an ENFP, you were SF last. Now
right.
you're SF first now. So
Yeah. Well,
how do you
that's the
feel
thing
about
what we
that?
were kind of talking about because you're talking about all the different kinds of sleep last and we were processing that. And even
Yeah.
as we're going through it, is like you're looking at like the wall behind me. It's like that's an awful lot of art you got behind you. I'm like, yeah. And I look at my Instagram, it's just like that's an awful lot of sensory on your Instagram page there, buddy. Um, so yeah, like I was just kind of like shaping the definitions of things to help myself out, but the whole time it's just like also the decider versus observer thing. Like I've always known I have like people issues. Like people start talking about IP stuff, and that very much was something I related to. But I also don't like being controlled or anything either. So it's like, yeah, whatever. I was okay with it. But going from double feminine sleep to double masculine sleep is a big change. I'm sorry, two double feminine sleep. And that's like, I don't know. I feel it really fits. I'm really happy with it just because like it kind of like finally sort of acknowledges kind of something I've been feeling for many years, long before ops, where I just kind of view myself as a very like not feminine person, but like, I like art and I like literature. I'm not like a big athlete guy. I'm not super into aggressive stuff or I never really like super, I don't know, masculine things all the time. Like I've always liked, I don't know, just more intellectual or artistic pursuits and yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that kind of was like I also changed my mind on things so much. I just had a very hard time believing that I was double masculine identity because I'm like always kind of like just moving around and stuff and I just changed my mind so much on things. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I feel pretty good with everything. Um, Dave was talking about, and I really agreed with him on this, is that like, being mistyped for years is actually like a good thing. I agree with this 100%. Because like, if you have decider issues, be an ENFP for 3 or 4 years. Like that's the best thing you want to do. It's like, so every single time you're in an argument, instead of getting deeper in the argument, like, think about the other person's perspective. Realize that they have a side of the story. People aren't scary. Make a funny joke, make fun of yourself. And that's like the stuff that I learned like in my 20s, like when I kind of started getting better at social skills, is like those are the things you want to do. You don't want to get like locked into, my identity, what I want to do. I have to win this argument. I have to be smarter than the other person. I got to beat them. You don't want to have that, me versus them mindset. It's very destructive. So, being an ENFP and thinking that way for years was pretty fun.
I
Gonna
guess
miss it.
you got forced into double deciding by accident, which is good.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's something I learned in my 20s. You have to just because of life and everything like that. Like I feel like we see like, in the groups, people of different types get totally like taken over by their like their blind spots, like regardless of the type and you see them burn down. Like at some point in your life, for me it was really kind of late college after college. I didn't want to be like in these weird conflicts with people anymore. I was just kind of done with it.
Well, I think being a social four definitely helps you a lot in this regard, because
Right,
like you care a lot about people and people interaction in general. Well, let's talk about that since
right.
we're on this topic already, because this is like one of the newer ones too. Like before, when our first interview, there was no social types yet, right? So yeah, you got type as a four.
Yeah,
Nobody's surprised by that
yeah.
because you're like super friendly. You're like in all the chats. You're like chatting with everyone and all like,
Depends who you ask.
what's that?
Depends who you ask. Some people don't think I'm friendly at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, my perspective is you come across like super friendly and like super
Right.
social. Like you're like in all like the comments in YouTube in my channel you are, and then like and then you're like in Facebook, like the
Yeah,
classes that David Chan has. Like you have like a presence everywhere. You're like dude, you make
I
double
try.
activate double activated play people look bad, just because like how much you how much you're actually social, uh, which is a good thing I think for your type because you're supposed to be like
Right.
play last. So the fact that
Antisocial.
it's
Yeah,
supposed
it's like going
supposedly
one of the most antisocial types.
yeah
Yeah,
it's supposedly, but like I'm starting to see now like the how much socials impact things because like my girlfriend for example. She's like a mope, right? She sleep consume play blast. But I'm like, why is she so extroverted? It's because she's a four, right? She's like,
right.
so like just loves people, just loves to interact with people. So Um, yeah. So, anyways, I want to hear your perspective though. Like, when you learned you were a four, and like you were like friends first, specialist second, can you like share a little bit about like each of those four segments, like friends and then specialist, and then you have like activation of generalist, but not like it's not your preferred thing supposedly, but you can use it,
Yeah,
and then ego flex in the end there. Like, how if like that does that trigger you? So let's just go through like all four of those and
right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, the social type stuff I knew. A lot of people were saying 3 or 4, and I had a real hard time believing I was a generalizer or a responsible person. Obviously I feel like, the number one, like, because I just feel very, I don't know. I think the way I said it to Dave in my little retyping video was people don't realize kind of how much of a narcissist I am until they do. Like, they get a little, I'm very like stubborn. I have my way of seeing things. It's not necessarily a good thing. But like, yeah, when I was working at these apartments, I was seeing the social hierarchy stuff very clearly. Because you get these guys who had been like in the hospital for years or in prison for years, and they go right back into employed life, and they'd be like right to the top of the union, right to the top of the company, supervisor, in charge, all this stuff immediately. And um it wasn't like a second thought. And like before they like went away for decades, like they were owned businesses, they had huge houses, they had the loan on the big truck. So it's like, okay, and that it's just baked in. That's the way they were, and that's kind of in part why they got in such big trouble when they did, because they had no breaks. Nobody was slowing them down or telling them to stop because no one could tell them what to do. They were in charge. They owned everything. Um, and then you get guys who they get out and they kind of have a lot of good things in their life. They have family that are supporting them, and they have a lot of artistic talent, but their attitude is like the only job I can have is the one I have. And things are never gonna it's just like a really negative attitude. Um so they'd be like the bad version of something. Um but no, like one of the guys was being very disrespectful to me because I was working at that job because I like to do the art. So I wanted a job where, I'm ferrying people around and being their like basically low paid therapist and just like being like, everybody's friend or whatever. And I was paid to do that, but it gave me a lot of downtime. I'd literally work all weekend and I'd like all my downtime, especially if I was working overnights, was drawing and stuff like that. But this guy started like being really disrespectful towards, well, a couple of people were really disrespectful towards me. Um, he uh he was talking about how no one wanted to work ever. He's like, no one wants to work anymore. He's like always just saying this around me, like as if it was like something a problem I had. It's like, hey, dude, I did all this stuff for you. Why are you like saying that stuff around me? Obviously, as a way to like insult me or whatever. It's like as soon as I leave, you're not going to have anybody who's going to replace me. No one's going to do for you what I've been doing for you. Um, and that was insulting. Um, there's a couple people like there was a sickness going around. I mean, this is also during COVID or tail into COVID, so everyone's a germaphobe. But one guy, I was helping him out with the computer because they couldn't really go on the computer, um, and he like blew in my face, like, and he was sick. So it's like one, like this job, you're not allowed to like beat anybody up, obviously, but like it's like, dude, if like I wasn't working here as an employee and someone did that to me, I'd punch you right in the mouth. It's like, what are you doing? It's like you're a grown man and you just blew on my face. Like, what the hell? It's just, yeah, I was just infuriated. So it was just like it was
That's
definitely like
that's disgusting, by the way, that they blew.
yeah, it was absolutely disgusting. It's like, all right, you're gonna stand 5 feet away from me. It's just like I don't even care. Like, well, how am I gonna get on the blah blah blah? Like, I don't even care anymore. You're on ground zero with me now, buddy. But man, I was so angry. But like yeah, just like a lot of disrespect and a lot of like I just got so sick of those guys. So I just like I don't know. All the other employees in front of me had also been fired or had issues where they've like got chased out basically. And I was the next guy left. And it's like the way these guys take their power is by finding the person who's kind of like the most obvious to take out. And they lie about them, they undermine them, they do really like seedy sort of underhanded things to take them out. and it's something that um everybody's gonna come after you and take you out, and your coworkers are gonna do that. It's a very toxic atmosphere. But if you stay under the radar and just like do your job and don't get noticed by anybody, you're usually fine. But I had nowhere left to hide, so just like, okay, I gotta leave. I didn't even give my 2 weeks notice. It's like I'm leaving tomorrow, and then I decided I'm just gonna be done. Like, the time was up. So I've been working there for like 10, 11 years, and in a day I decided it was time to leave. So I just disappeared. They joked about like, hey, are you, because like a lot of people had to have receive written warnings never to return. He's like, are you gonna need one of those? I'm like, no, you guys are never gonna hear from me again. Bye. Have a good one. Yeah, it was a little wild, but
Dude, that's a lot of
yes,
designer issues that you have there. No wonder you are like definitely an IP.
yeah. I mean, I try not to like get into that stuff. Like, I usually don't. I try not to tell people about that stuff because it's just like you can start going down discussions that are kind of unhealthy and doesn't do you any good. But
Um, okay, well, I think from the sound of it, the stories that you just shared, it was more of a decider issue. You talked about like being a number one and the ego and the being a narcissist, and I think as an IP, you'll always have that part of you. It's just you can't get away from that. Being an IP type, because like I have friends who are like IPs number fours, and they still have like that, like they still have pretty strong flex compared to like,
uh,
like the other fours, like the non-IP fours, for example, right? Um, so I think it's like just part of the deal, you know. But I think in general, like you're still like in general like super friendly compared to like, the non social type 4 IPs. I'm not saying they're not friendly, but you're like, from my perspective, you're like really friendly, at least in online. I don't know how you are in real life. Maybe you're maybe you're a jerk in person, who knows? Um,
yeah,
but
sometimes.
yeah, but I mean, who isn't a jerk, sometimes, right? Um,
Right.
so that's cool. And then I guess the specialist thing is you've been doing that same job for like many years, like the same role, like
Yeah, well, and it wasn't like an ego thing. I was working there for the specific purpose of doing what I preferred to do, which was like writing, art, and eventually music. It didn't really help me with the music stuff very much because I couldn't play music there. Well, I could, but not the music I play. Um, so it just sort of like it basically paid the bills while I did what I wanted, which was more like I think one thing we're gonna have to look at, like I'm guessing like a lot of threes and fours, like they look at their hobbies as being their job, like what they live for. And they don't even think of them as hobbies. This is like, I'm writing the book or I'm making the music and this is my identity. Whereas you look at like the twos and the ones, it's like my job is my identity. This isn't it, and it's more of like an actual job. Like where the fours and the threes are like, I'm working the job so I can do my passion. Whereas the twos and the ones is my passion and my job. They got to be the same.
I
Like,
think I think Dave and Shan said something different because they said,
did they?
yeah, Dave did. There was a video he posted in a class, like ones and threes are the ones that would like take their job and they would identify with it, while twos and fours
Okay.
do not. So it's like, I think it's tied with ego and flex, where like for ones and threes, it's easy for them to say like, I'm an accountant or I'm a YouTuber, and then for like, for Dave, it's like
Right.
that's so weird. Like what? Why would you do that, right? Like for two, so it seems like it's tied to ego and flex, what you're describing,
Right.
but I think maybe what you're also thinking is like, because ones and twos are very obsessed with work, right? Well, threes and fours, they have side hobbies that they want to really really engage in. So like threes definitely, like they do take their job very seriously, but they also want to have like a work-life balance, and they want to have like hobbies outside of work. Like for example, if you look at Mark Zuckerberg, he's like a three, he's a CEO of Apple, but he has hobbies that he's pursuing quite aggressively, like MMA, like he loves MMA, right? So, um,
Yeah.
so in like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So it's like, oh, um, he's still showing up.
Zuckerberg's a three and not a four. Isn't he super friends?
No, they type him as a three. So
Did they? Oh, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know if I
yeah.
agree with that.
I
I mean,
agree
they know more than me, but
because he's not like when he talks to people, he's not genuine. He's kind of like. um, he's putting a little bit of a front, you know.
Okay.
He's trying to show the best light possible. Like
Yeah.
Force just wants to connect, right? So, um, so they're not as
Yeah.
putting on a front as much, you know.
Sure.
So I think that's like the big difference. I mean, like, granted, threes and fours are really good at specializing. Like, there's fours that can beat threes in specializing, right? So, like, you don't need to have ego to be good at something. I think that's like the lesson to be learned here. Like, you can be exceptional at something without the need to flex or have ego behind it, right? Because there's like a lot of number fours that
Yeah.
are like really like high level top performers, like athletes and business people like Warren Buffett. So it's like, oh, um, I just think a lot of fours maybe get overlooked because they're not like bragging about it, you know. But if you um put them in an actual um like a secret contest, you could say, where they don't know they're in a competition, but everyone's like proving their merit, but they don't know they're in a competition. I bet you a lot of force would beat like the other social types just because of, um
Yeah, because it's kind of like focused in. Well, and they talked a little bit about this, like with the like fours being really weird with ego in a little area, and I was wondering where I was with that. And this was a few months ago when I was kind of puzzling out the social type. Is I really like um computers. I like having a really good computer. And during COVID, I promised myself that I was going to get the best computer money could buy. And I was going to get like the great monitor, but great, like just basically get my full setup. Like if I waited because the cards weren't very good during COVID and everyone was buying them, so they're super expensive. So I was like, I'm going to wait till COVID's done, buy the next card if it's good, and I'm going to get the best of everything. And I did. So like I go to LAN parties to play, shooters and stuff like with friends. Um, it's very weird. Like, I'm not like a flexy person, but I'm coming in with my big computer case, my big monitor, and my mechanical key, like all the nice peripherals. And my setup costs more than everybody else's setup combined, except maybe one guy with a big TV. And it's a little bit like, okay, this is actually a little bit weird. Like I feel uncomfortable doing this. Like it's very awkward. And I was like, I bet that is possibly. Now maybe I get retyped on social types and a few years and I'm a number one and you guys are all wrong. Who knows? But for now, let's just say that that's like demon flex, my weird little way of flexing on everybody. Like, look, guys, I got a 4090 and I got the best processor and I got a 4K monitor and yeah, it's just weird. It's not a very, it's like a cringe flex or something. I don't know.
yeah, I have a buddy who I suspect to be like a jumper ENTJ, double feminine, or maybe MF, I'm not sure. But he's definitely a number four because he has absolutely no flex unless it's computer related, and he has like a $4,000 computer and he's telling me all the specs in his computer, but otherwise he doesn't have it.
Yeah.
So I can see that being like a weird like area of flex for like number fours is like a hardware that they use, or uh I think Dave and Shan used video games as an example. Like a lot of fours apparently flex in video games, but that's about it, and outside of that they don't even flex at all. But you
I
know
always wish I could. Like, I have very slow reflexes, so I'm not very good at video games. And me and my brother lived together for years. I mean, years. And he was good at video games. And that was like his entire life for a while. We actually shared a room for years, and I would have my computer set up, and he would have his computer set up, and he'd be playing. He was like second or first ranked in this very specific game called it was Age of Empires 3, but there's a specific game mode that he was very good at where it took like 40 minutes to an hour just to play one game.
wow.
And it just so like it was very you had to do something called, I think it was called booming, where you collect a bunch of resources and like build the best economy possible before you fight. So it was very like technical and mathematical, where you had to like people would brag about how much numbers they could get. Um, and it was so beyond me that anyone would like do that. I don't know his type or anything. Like I in the past I'd speculated on it, but
He never got typed.
um, No, none of my family's into ops. I've kind of shared them. It's a funny story. I told my brother I was an ENFP, and I told him what double deciding was. He's like, wait, but you're the most like intolerable person ever, and you're always getting in fights. It's just like, oh, okay, whatever. We were sitting on a roof when I told him, and he's just like, oh, they totally got you wrong. Like, because you're always getting like you have like nothing but people troubles. I'm like, rude, but okay.
That's funny you said that because for me
Yeah.
personally, I went to my boss at work and then I told him about my YouTube channel and my personality types. Like he's like, so what's your personality type? I'm like, I'm an ENFP and I'm supposed to be the most extroverted personality type there is. And my boss like, you didn't have to pay to you didn't have to pay money for someone to tell you that. I could have told you that, like
Yeah.
like he's like, so it's kind of crazy like how people. I think the best way to get time is almost like your friends just telling you, because they've seen you and stuff.
Yeah, somewhat. A little
Somewhat,
bit.
somewhat, somewhat to an extent. But like for example, like for my Enneagram type, it was like my I don't know if you believe in Enneagram or not, but I personally do. But when I got my
It's a
Enneagram,
lot of fun. Yeah.
yeah, like when I got my Enneagram type, I bought the book and then I shared it with my sister and her friends, right? And then we're all reading the description. We're like, that's you, that's you, right? And then when I took the test online, it says I was like a three, which I didn't really resonate with. But then when I read number seven, everyone in the room, my sister and her friends are like, "That's you, Kendrick. That's you." I'm like, "Oh, well, shit."
Yeah.
So I think that there is something to like getting external feedback, and I think it's because like they can see like at least half of you, right? Because your identity is essentially like half your extroverted one and half your introverted one, right? So like to
Yeah.
get that
Out
yeah. What did you want to say?
out of curiosity, because I was gonna shout out my Enneagram number that everyone says for me, but
Yeah.
you've had two interviews with me and you've seen me in the community. What would you say my Enneagram type was? And it doesn't have to be right, but just your guess.
Oh, geez. Okay, this is gonna be tough because I never thought about it. But let me do a process of elimination because I think that's the
Okay.
best way to do it. You're not a one for sure, so that's out. Okay, not a
Okay.
one, not a three, so that's out. Um,
Okay.
don't see you being a four either, so that's
Oh,
out.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
don't see you being a four. So one, three, and four is out. Um, so that leaves you with like what, five, six, seven, eight, nine, I think, and two.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and two.
Nine is on the likely side, so I'll put that in a maybe. And then I don't see you being an eight, even though you're double masculine, so that's out. Um,
Isn't eight like the ENTJ blaster stereotype?
Eight is like the like strength is everything type, like it's all about
Okay.
strength, power, and like dominant. Like I think David Goggins would be an eight. Um,
Right. Okay.
so I don't think you're an eight 'cause I don't see
Yeah,
you
probably
doing
not.
like eights are obsessed with like making impact too, right? Like obsessed, like so that I don't think you are. Um so that leaves with five, six, seven, nine, and two. mm, Number five, I don't think you're a five. I don't see you like because the five's demon is like selfishness, right? I just don't see you being like, even though you're an IP, I don't see you being selfish at all. Like you're actually like from the vibe, the NF vibe you give me, you don't come across as a selfish person, you know?
Right. Well, that's
Like
nice of you to say. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like I'm, from what I've known you for 3 years, so you don't come across that way. So five is out. Um, Sevens are a little bit on the hyper side and high energy. I don't think that's you, so that's also out. So
In
that leaves,
short periods of time, with a
yeah,
little bit
but
of Mountain Dew in me, I'm
yeah,
very
but
hyper.
but not
Yeah.
like you're like not like
Not
me. I'm
all the
a
time.
crackhead, right? So,
Right.
um, so so that leaves two, six, and nine, right? So now that makes it tougher now. I'm like, which of those three do I think you are? Um, because six is like safety oriented. So I'm like, are you safety oriented? I don't know. Like, I don't think I've gotten to know you enough to know that. Nine, are you
Mm.
like peace oriented? Maybe. Hey, that I can.
Bacon, a peacemaker.
Yeah,
Isn't that the most common one?
no, it's not.
Oh, okay.
I think they're all even, like honestly, but I think there's clustering for sure for each type. Like
Right.
there's like a clustering for sevens and EPs, I think, or like clustering for social type one that is either three, four, or eight, right? Like
Right.
pretty much if you're a one, you're one of those, like pretty much, you know. Um, but yeah, so Peacemaker is definitely a huge one. Number two, I don't know you enough. If you're like the helper or giver type, I don't know you enough, but I can see that potentially being the case, even though you're play last, because it doesn't
Yeah.
like you can be an introvert and still want to help people, right? So it's hard to say. Um, so if I had to guess, this is just like a complete guess, because just out of your OPS, so number one of the number nine's favorite sayings, I want to sleep forever, and they love to sleep, right? I think you're a nine. That's just my guess. Like
Okay.
high sleep. And
Right.
I don't see you being conflict oriented either. So I just, I just see you as kind of like even keel, chill. Just want to, chill with friends.
Yeah.
Chill. I think like a good way to describe you, chill. So I think nine sounds that's my guess. Is like nine would be my
Huh.
preference. Yes.
I appreciate that guess. Yeah. I know a lot of people who type as nines kind of in my friend group. I know it's a very common. I think there's a lot of fours in my circle.
Of course,
Um,
that's funny because they don't want to be like common, right? Number four is supposed to be different, right? So that's kind of funny that
oh, I'm sorry, like fours on the social hierarchy, like friends,
social force. Okay, I see.
externally motivated, specialists, family oriented.
Sure.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with like my social circle. A lot of them first knew each other from homeschooling and church, which is
Yeah.
a very religious sort of, it's like externally motivated and specialist centrals. So a lot of like peacemaker type people. Yeah, I think that's kind of something I've heard. I I probably should give Enneagram more of a chance just because it's a language a lot of people in my group speak. It's the system that they're interested in. So I probably need to be kind of aware of it. It's interesting that you said not four though, because whenever I asked like, "Hey, what do you think my Enneagram type is?" There was like four, four, because I'm like, I stick out very much in that group. I'm the only person who likes what I like, does what I do, and I'm very anti-popular. So like when I got typed sleep last ENFP, it's like, okay, I like sensory stuff. I like stuff. I like good art and everything. But I guess what they're saying with the sleep SF last is I hate popular culture. So maybe that's what's going on.
It
Um,
it could be your tri-type because if you look at Enneagram, right, like the way the theory works is
uh,
um two, three, and four is the emotional brain. Five, six, and seven is the logical brain. Sorry, five, six, seven. Yeah, five, six, seven is the logical brain, and eight, nine, and one is the instinct brain, right? So your tri-type would touch on to each of those brains.
right.
So if you were a nine on the front end, then potentially your emotional brain could be a four, and then your logical brain could be a six. So that's why maybe I narrowed you down as those ones because those are the one that was potentially standing out. Although I didn't see the four, I saw more of a two.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. I like I said. Um. Uh,
Social settings can make such a big difference too. Like, who are you in like in your friend group? You might not necessarily be the same person. Like if I go into ops, everyone there is be kind of you're gonna get a lot of people who are going to be different and be more different than me. But if you like are in a religious sort of setting where a lot of people go to church and kind of really value sort of fitting in and being with the program, anybody who's a little bit different is going to seem very like, oh, you're like a kind of like a rebel and a trend breaker. Even but if you like compared me to everybody in the United States or put me in New York City or like Brooklyn, I might be very vanilla by comparison.
yeah,
So I think setting makes a difference.
that's true. Also, you being different and stuff, that could be your FI because you like what
Right.
you like and what you don't like what you don't like. And so but the thing with number fours to keep in mind is they are blatantly trying to be different. So if you're different, but it's not something that you're doing purposely, it's just like you're just being yourself. And ultimately, when you're being authentic, you're gonna be doing things that uh is aligned with everyone else and kind of in common with everyone else, but you're also gonna be doing things and will be into things that only you like and no one can resonate with you. So I think it's just authenticity that pretty much is what you're doing. So maybe your authenticity is standing out a lot compared to
Right.
other people. So I think that could be the case. But I do want to ask, I want to do like a funny little like tangent here. So let's compare.
Okay. Go ahead.
Before you got your social type, what did you think you were, and what did other people think you were? And then
Most people thought I was a four, and there's a few people who I respect a lot who thought I was a three. Um, I think secretly, I mean, secretly deep down, I think I thought I was a four because that's kind of what the life pile was.
Yeah.
But it's really hard not to really think of like how I want to accomplish a lot and make a big wave at some point. But I even like I highly recommend everybody like who is wondering about social types and typing, like, get typed by Dave and everything like that. It was a really fun experience for me. I really like getting the audios from Dave. He's a really caring, compassionate guy. And but the thing that he said that really uh was interesting to me in the profile that I really agreed with was, fours, the social type four now, not the Enneagram. Um, they really want to make like a big bang with their life. They want, win the lottery or write a book and get famous and make everybody proud of them. It's not like a solid like day by day thing that they're doing. It's just like I'd really like to hit it big. I like my ship to come in a little bit. And I definitely noticed that when I was a younger person that I had weird fantasies about making a big sale when I worked in sales or winning the lottery or something like that. Very unhealthy thought patterns that you definitely want to get away with. And I thought like I think because this is like my struggle in life and something that I have kind of going on in the back of my head, that I'm totally comfortable with being a externally motivated person because like, I want to impress everybody. Like I want to prove dad wrong, prove mom wrong, not literally, but like, prove them wrong though. They said I couldn't do it. I could do it. That kind of stuff. So I told people I thought I was a one because I feel very narcissistic, but um yeah, four didn't surprise me at all. Um I knew it was gonna hurt my feelings though, because a lot of people have said things to me that hurt my feelings about like, my status in life and everything like that. Like you deal with women and stuff like that in dating and attraction. Uh you talk to women, and then when they're honest with you, this is like, what, confidence really is king. Like, having that sort of ego and that, obviously be a kind, high value person of integrity who is moral and ethical and everything like that and treats people well. But, when it comes to like sort of that carnal attraction, uh, having a little bit of a edge and like an ego and like an internal confidence, it means a lot. So I mean, it hurts your feelings. It's like I really want to like have that, embody that, not have to work, just have it naturally. But no, it's something I obviously, you hear it over and over again, like, in dating sort of situations, it's like you just need to be a little more confident and like have a little bit more of a jaw and like to you, like not like a boxing, you like be able to take the hits and not be so sensitive or be so down on yourself. Like women really want you to believe in yourself. Like, how can I believe you're going to protect me and raise my kid if you don't believe in yourself? You
Right.
really have to believe in yourself.
That makes sense.
Um, so it hurt my feel. I knew it was going to hurt my feelings, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's good to have your feelings hurt a little bit and have it make you stronger. And you know, if I have to like act like the number one and learn how to have a certain sense of pride in myself over a certain amount of time, let's go, let's do it. So.
Well, social ones are attracted to a four, so if you end up dating someone, it'll probably be a one, which is a good thing. You don't want to be
Yeah.
different, right? Because,
Nah, I mean, I've been in this situation before, and I agree with. Well, there actually might have been a three, but
sure, okay, could be
I
three.
was talking with my sister about like types and attraction and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I really have always had a thing for shoulders, and I was just like kind of like describing like why and what kind of the reasons why I thought it's just like, I think the real reason is like, if the shoulders in a certain position, it signifies confidence.
Yeah,
And it's like I don't know. I really feel that like they're DEs or like others oriented. I use language that she would understand. She's not into ops at all, but it's
right.
like yeah, like but maybe there's just like this edge where I'm like I'm the queen bee or and a lot of it the relationship kind of was the friendship or whatever it was to be like I'm kind of helping them up with stuff because they're like rely on my creativity and my intelligence. I have a lot of virtues that lend myself to people. So it's like it's more like you're helping me accomplish my goal though. It's not them helping me accomplish my goal. Like I have my own goals and everything, but I'm sort of like alone. Like I do my art and my music on my own. I really don't like collaborating with people. I don't really need anyone. I just need myself. But when I'm helping other people, it's like they have a goal and like I'm I kind of find that like, I'm the talent that helps them get over the top or whatever. So like, I don't know, specialize or
Yeah,
um yeah.
that's interesting. For me personally, for women, I like the super long hair. That's the one
Yeah.
for me. Like when I see long hair, I'm like, whoa, there we go. You know, like I
I'm
like
big into straight hair and like when the
yeah,
ears just poke out a little bit and
I
yeah.
like the straight hair because it looks IJ. It's like organized, because it's like, so I
Now
think
that I got it retyped, I was telling people whenever a double feminine INTJ comes through the typing, I'm like, oh, I know they're an INTJ double feminine because I think they're kind of cute. But
yeah,
now that I'm retyped as a double masc, because that would be my type opposite. The double feminine INTJs
yeah.
would be the would be this
The same
sexual
thing.
opposite or whatever to a double masculine ISFP. So
Yeah.
yeah, I thought
I
that was
think it
funny.
makes sense. Yeah, definitely you're attracted to like your opposite sexuals. Like for me, like FMs for sure. Like I like the bitchy looking eyebrows. They look a little bit like mean, like like
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah.
sharp nails, like sharp long nails, fake nails. I love that shit.
Oh,
I like the
I've not that yeah, that makes me a little uncomfortable, but
no,
yeah,
that to
I
me,
know why you mean.
yeah, I no, but for me, I love that because I'm like MF, right? So for me, it's like that's like those are like FM traits, right? It's like feminine but aggressive, So it's like even when I was single, I like when I was like younger and like me and my friends would like go clubbing and stuff to like try to like meet girls and stuff. And
Right.
like the first thing I would always tell my friends is like, I want the girl that looks like a bitch. And that's what I always tell my friend, like
Yeah.
and they'll be like, she looks like a bitch. I'm like, that's mine. That's what I always say, right? Like I want I want the one that like looks like the one with like that would like if you try to approach her and talk to her, she'll be like, fuck off. Like I'm like that's for me, like that's what I
Yeah.
used to say, like it's like a little bit funny because I'm MF, right? So it's like, oh, I like to get
Right.
a little bit of abuse in the front end. It's kind of funny. But
Yeah.
you're saying that like those are the comments that your female friends said to you about like you when it comes to dating is like you were lacking confidence. Is that what they said? Like
They want confidence, and the criticism is like, you really need to like not be down on yourself. You need to be very, just you need to have belief in yourself really conveyed and everything like that. And Um, yeah, so it stuck out to me for sure. I was thinking of something. Oh, yeah, she's not typed, but she's definitely like my celebrity crush or whatever.
yeah,
It's a singer named Wise Blood. I think her name's Natalie. Her real name's like Natalie Merring, but I think I've always thought that she kind of looks like a double feminine INTJ. But yeah, that would be like that's like my celebrity crush of the moment. She's a
nice.
really good. Her album last year was really good. She's got really great music videos. But
Wouldn't you be attracted also to like double feminine like ENTJs like someone that would be like blast play consume sleep because that's your opposite, right? And like number one
would
maybe
that be like Julia Roberts? Who would that be?
Julia Roberts is she blast play or she play consume is she no
I
Julia
don't
Roberts is
know.
Julia Roberts is a double feminine, but she's a ESTJ jumper. She's play consume blast sleep, I think.
Right.
I'm not sure. I could be wrong. I have to double check. I actually made a shorts on her, but I forgot the type already. Anyways, like, but that's interesting to hear the kind of like the tribe perspective on you. Because like for me, for example, like when before I got my social type, people were saying you're totally a four, Kendrick, or some people even said I was like a one. I was like, what? I'm a one. Like I don't see that. I mean, I have a YouTube
I don't
channel.
think
But
so either.
doesn't mean I'm a one just because I have a YouTube channel. But like I got a lot of number fours, right? And then like I'm like, but then I thought I was a number two, like strongly believe I was number two because like I felt very entrepreneurial and like, very generalist, right? Um,
Right.
that's why that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get to the bottom of this because people keep accusing me as a number four. I really don't resonate with it. I do
Right.
think I have Save Your Friends, but I don't think it's number one. So when I did submit my audios to or my videos sorry to Dave to type because he thought I was a four and he was telling everyone I was a four. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
like
I heard that.
yeah. So I was like, you need to stop telling people I'm a four. If I'm make sure I'm actually a four. Let's do this properly before you start telling people I'm
Let's
a four.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I submitted my videos and stuff, and then he submitted me like his audio, which is quite like helpful, right? He's like, "Huh."
Hmm.
He's like, "You are a two. What do you know?" I was like, he's like, "You have a
Yeah.
scam," and then he's like, "You have a scam, and and like you like people and you like friends, but I see you sneaking away to do work. Like you're obsessed with work, like because fours are obsessed with their hobbies." But I have a
Yeah.
hobby because I have consumed third, and I do have a lot of hobbies. But my obsession is work. Like if you look at my day, that's all, like yesterday, for example, I spent the whole day writing a blog post in my travel blog, right? Like the entire freaking
Right.
day, like from freaking
Hmm.
like in the morning all the way to like 11 p.m. at night. Like that's all I wrote like a 3,000 word like blog post with like barely any breaks in between. I was starving, like sleep last problems, right? It's like, oh, like work is my obsession. I can't stop thinking about work. I have to work, you know and it's all totally different like areas. It's like personality YouTube, travel YouTube channel, travel blog,
Right.
and then on top of that, people don't even notice I have a gaming YouTube channel too that's almost monetized.
Oh.
Yeah, like
Oh.
a mobile gaming one. So it's like, it,
Okay.
and it's almost monetized now too because like I know how to do YouTube now. So like it's within like I think I'll have it monetized in like 4 to 5 months of me starting it, which is crazy because like I'm like, what? So it's like I built up the skill set for it, but like I can't stop like change like having multiple like different ventures, Uh, you know, so so yeah, that was cool to finally get that result back. And but I think for you though, I had never any doubt you are four. Like you are like if there was like a
A lot of
dictionary,
people have been saying that.
if
Yeah.
there's a dictionary and it says social type four, I think your face would be beside it. Like it would be, you would be number four. Like you are just like oozing with friendliness, dude. Like you're just like
Right.
and like just wanting to socialize with people, even though you're play last. So, um,
Yeah. That is a thing that I was like, because I'll do these friend gatherings and my social battery was just hitting the wall so hard. I was really starting to wonder about a lot of things as far as the animal stack, but yeah, so being play last makes a lot of sense. Well, just also because like I feel like a lot of people kind of like try to interact with me when I'm like very tired, and I'll just kind of be kind of a little bit rude. Like I don't want to talk now. I'm just done. I'm just exhausted. I have a lot of stuff going on in my personal life.
wait, can I ask you something? Sorry to interrupt. So
Go ahead.
so okay, you don't want to interact with people because you're tired, because
Yeah.
you're obviously play last, so you have low social battery, even though you like it. But do you still want to be around people, even though you don't want to talk to people? Like, do you still like being in the same like this or not?
It depends. A lot of people were coming into town for family stuff, and it was really exciting times. Like it was like weddings and everything like that. But people coming in, they had to stay over at my house and stay in a room next to me. And man, I really do not like that. I mean, I'm kind of messy, and I don't like people seeing like some of my mess and stuff like that. Um, and it's like kind of an emotional struggle, and it's like it really comes down to whether or not we have stuff in common. Like family and stuff, as much as I love them, they're amazing people. We don't have a lot in common. Like it's like, so what do you want to do, Nathaniel? It's like I want to do this, this, and this, and they don't want to do any of that. That they're not my family and a lot of like my old social group. They don't like what I like. They don't want to play the games I want to play. They don't want to talk about the philosophy I want to talk about. They don't want to watch. They want to watch the football game. They want to play card games. Um, they have a certain set of things that they want to do, and I don't want to do any of them, honestly. Like I don't like I want to do musical stuff. Like I really like foreign movies and like world films. Like I don't know if you've heard of the Criterion Collection, but like a lot of the movies I like are from the Criterion Collection, or they're like classic world films. Like I like Andrei Tarkovsky, like a lot of very slow moving movies, and other people they want to watch like Marvel stuff, which is totally okay. I mean, movies for a lot of people are entertainment, but
Yeah,
it's not really like that for me. So um it's hard to interact with people if there isn't like a common interest or like common interest, things you mutually enjoy doing.
yeah,
And so having like a lot of people where there isn't like a common interest. But I mean, I used to live, I mean, this is gonna sound very foreish. It's a little bit embarrassing, so I don't always tell people, but I lived with my family and all my family basically. It was a very like a multi-generational household. But me and my siblings, we all lived with, my parents for years. Um and I really did enjoy being around certain members of the family. Like me and my mom were always really very non. She was I've typed her as a play last for forever. She passed away a few years ago. But I mean, we really enjoyed like doing hobbies and stuff, kind of in each other's vicinity because we weren't going to bother each other. And we liked photography. We liked a lot of just drawing and artistic stuff. And we knew that we weren't going to bother each other too much. And I loved her taste in like movies and stuff like that. She did a lot of Jane Austen movies, and she liked Anne of Green Gables, and I like that stuff a lot more because it's very much like my feminine side really likes that kind of stuff. Um,
So you
and then it,
like her presence? Sorry. So you just like being in her presence then?
right, we both like. I mean, our relationship wasn't perfect. Like a lot of the decider issues right now that I'm dealing with are processing stuff that happened, when I was being raised as a kid. And, it's like, your mom was gone. You can't talk to her about like, why do you make this decision? Why do you make that decision? That kind of thing.
Right.
So a lot of my decider issues are kind of like around that and having to deal with it and not being able to talk to her about it. But overall, our relationship was absolutely amazing. We were really good friends. Um, and a lot of people thought we were like the same personality wise. And I used to type her as a Playlast ISTJ. Um, but I'm really starting to think that I might have been wrong about that. Um, I haven't gotten to the bottom of what her type is, and unfortunately, she passed away, so I can't really like talk to her about it. But yeah, I'm a little curious about now that I've been retyped and I'm reanalyzing all my, people that I know with the knowledge that okay, if you're doing what I'm doing, you're not this type anymore, you're that type. I have some rewiring to do with all of that, but. Yeah, no, she's a great person to be around. She was a number four. She was a, like four of fours. When she passed away, um, there was like just this explosion of people who coming out of the woodwork to saying what kind of person she was to them. And she was not like a like sort of like an out there person um when she was alive. Like she was never in charge. Like she was in charge of things where it was like a service oriented in charge, like never like I'm the number one. So it's like a really good primer for people who are like fours, not super ego or flex or whatever like that. Um, like, okay, if you're externally motivated and motivated by helping other people out, this is kind of how you do it. And when she passed away, basically everyone just it was kind of like a wonderful life after she passed away. I don't know if you ever watched the movie. It's like the Christmas movie. It's a Wonderful Life. Just like the character of Jimmy Stewart, where like she probably had no real idea of like the size or the impact she made. It was very like, she was everybody's one-on-one best friend, the person she was everyone's person that they could call when they could tell her anything kind of a thing. Um, and she was mostly that way for me. The unfortunate thing is like when you're someone's kid and you have a personal family relationship, and she had me when she was basically a kid. She was like a teenager when she had me. So there's like a lot of like first child difficulties and stuff where I unfortunately couldn't really trust talking to her because we just had a lot of baggage. But to a lot of people, she was, the person. And she really taught me from a very young age, like about double deciding and like I'd have bullies that bothered me and everything like that. And I try to get her to like, wreak vengeance on them and everything like that. It's like, no, you have to consider all these things about what they're going through. You have to see things from their side. And of course, when I was like, a kid, I didn't feel like that, but it's very valuable to learn that later. It's like, okay, that's where she was coming from. So yeah. But yeah, she's a good primer on force.
Well, dude, it sounds like you had a amazing relationship with your mom. Sorry to hear what happened with her. That definitely sucks, especially, considering like what kind of relationship you guys had.
Right.
Um,
Thank you.
I just want to mention though, we need to wrap up the interview here because
Oh,
I
that's
have
right.
I
Yeah,
have
you got
another one.
another one coming up.
Yeah, another one like scheduled after this. But hey, dude, I really enjoyed talking with you. I'd love to have you back again in the channel sometime. Maybe in like a
Yeah,
panel interview or
absolutely.
something.
All right.
But yeah, dude, it was like a real pleasure catching up with you after all this time. I'm still like a little bit surprised that you are not an ENFP anymore because you were like the token sleep loss ENFP for the
I
longest time.
was.
And then
Here's the thing. All the other Sleep Last ENFPs completely booked it out of the group as soon as they were typed. And I'm like, wait a second. What's different here? What's wrong? I'm still here and I don't
yeah,
want to leave anytime soon. So
you're the
something is
only yeah.
not right.
Now there's none. It's none.
Yeah, it's you.
Oh,
You're the last Sleep NFP left.
I am, but I'm like I'm the play first ENFP. I'm not the standard one.
Uh,
So I'm
you're
like
not, yeah, you're not consuming other stuff.
so like I mean like I'm not in the same category as the consume play blast sleep ENFPs because like I'm
Yeah,
a like I'm an ENFP, but I'm in the different like
right.
different breed, you know. So,
Yeah.
so for sure. Anyways, dude, enjoy the rest of your is it evening for you right now? So
Yeah, it's nighttime. So I was gonna get some McDonald's and I don't know, just chill out.
all right, dude, enjoy your McDonald's and I'll see you next time, okay?
Yeah, peace, dude. Thanks for having me.